What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the twist in 12 minutes. I want to talk about kind of what really was happening, explain it to you guys, kind of go over some things that I've thought about in regards to it, because I don't think I have all the answers. I was trying to see if anybody else had, their own kind of interpretation of it. I haven't found any, at least at the time of the recording, but I want to get right into it. So this is obviously going to contain spoilers, the biggest spoilers imaginable for the game, 12 minutes, okay? And so I'm going to kind of say it as quickly as I can and kind of as straightforward as I can. Basically, you find out throughout the entire game that your wife maybe was responsible for her father's death, right? That she shot him and she ran away. And in her mind, she's always looked at it as, her dad died because of her. What you really find out is that the dad did not die from that gunshot. He was actually on the road to recovery, but then 1 week later, somebody else killed him. Somebody else kind of came and finished the job, okay? Now, you find that out throughout the game, kind of in like the middle-ish loops that, your wife is not the actual killer, that the Polaroid on the fridge actually is the evidence that shows she couldn't have done it because she was where you are, okay, in your city at the time on New Year's Eve 8 years ago, and that's when the father was killed, okay? She then said that she met you a couple weeks after that, 2 weeks after that, and that you guys have been together for 8 years. Well, obviously, that was the first twist. The second major twist is that you are the killer. You are her stepbrother, which I'm not going to talk about. I guess I'm not going to talk about the shock factor because I don't want to go too far into it, for YouTube purposes, but you did hear me correctly. This guy, in this game, and then your wife, they are not, they are husband and wife, but they're also kind of half brother and sister. Your character's mom was actually the nanny that the wife's dad was having an affair with. And you weren't always looked at. In fact, actually, the entire time, you were not looked at as like a welcomed child. And you ended up, again, kind of finishing the job. Nobody liked you. Nobody even really knew who you were when, kind of growing up. And that's pretty much it. So that's the main twist of it. Now, I have some personal questions, mainly regarding the actual ending, which is when you're in the library and you're talking to, now when you figure all this stuff out, which I think happens in like loop 8 or 9, right? When you figure this stuff out, the names change. So, when you hover over your wife, it would say wife up until the point that you figure it all out, right? Up until you tell the cop your mom's name was Delia, and then you kind of figure it all out, like you realize it and you kind of like collapse because you can't actually believe that that all that stuff happened. From that point on, when you hover over your wife, it just says her, okay? And then when you go into the library, the final scene, which, if you choose the right, I guess, option of the two, the game does end, but you can actually continue it to get the true ending. Or then if you click nothing and you click the book, that's how you get the true ending to it. Now, when you click the book, okay, for the true ending, you basically come to terms with everything. So, like, the father says, like, I'm going to help you kind of get through it, right? So you can kind of move on, but you're going to kind of forget the past because I guess the other twist is you're stuck in a time loop because you can't kind of get yourself out of thinking about all this stuff. You need to stop thinking about the past in order to move on from it. Now, I don't know if that's the best message to be sending for a situation like that, but I believe that is the message the game sends. So if you click the book and you get the true ending of the game, basically, you to the father, you kind of get through it. Now, what I find weird, and this is just, again, my personal interpretation, I definitely want to hear from you guys too. I look at that as like he's kind of in his own head, like that stuff is just happening to himself, because what the father tells you is just talking about his daughter and your sister. So, like, in that scene, he's acting as if he's your wife's father, the one who died, right? And in fact, even in failed loops of the attempt in the library, he ends up dying with multiple kind of gunshots to him, and you accidentally did that to him, in that moment. So, however, it's Willem Dafoe's voice, and it's the cop's model, it's the cop's body. So, to me, and it also takes place, by the way, 2 minutes before the entire rest of the game starts. So to me, it is, I guess I look at it as it's just in his head. He's kind of coming to terms with it, because a lot of the stuff that you find out in that room is things that you can kind of piece together on your own, but that the game is then telling you, like, in case you didn't know, your wife's your sister, and in case you didn't know, you killed the father, things like that. So that's how I kind of read it, and then even the true ending of kind of just coming to terms with what's happened and kind of moving on. Again, you do that with the father, but I really feel like you're doing it with yourself. Now, again, maybe there's an explanation that somebody else has given that's better than that, but that's how I see it happening. So it is definitely a big twist. I'm not necessarily, again, going to go into my opinions of it, but I guess the biggest thing of all, again, is that, your wife that you've been married to for 8 years, by the way, is actually your half-sister, and that you are the one that finished off her father. And then, the rest of it, you can, I guess there's kind of interpretations. As I said in the last video, there are more than one ending. Again, though, the thing is, when you complete the game, if you do anything but the true ending, if you hit continue in the main menu, you will still be in the loop. Like you'll still go in the hallway, open the door, and play another loop. So it is an ending, but it's not a true ending. I guess the one that probably comes closest to that is that you do actually admit to the cop and your wife that you are, her brother, and that you also killed her father. You do admit that, and she kicks you out of the house. So you go down the hallway, but again, even with that, you go down, and then the day restarts. So, obviously there are the twists and turns there, but also, the differences between the endings and then I guess the actual true ending. So let me know what you guys think about all this stuff in the comments below. I think the comments are probably safe to talk about how you feel about, the relationship choices that they chose to go with this game. Let me know. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. If you guys want to check out any of my social media accounts, we have a Twitter, a second channel, Patreon, and YouTube memberships. All of that stuff is in the description below, okay? Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you all on the next video.